My name is Scott Tucker. Welcome to The Algorithm. Since 2004, when we embarked on this journey of discovery, most of the focus was on wildlife. Everything from ants of North America to the humpback whales off the Dominican Republic, and the sharks of the Galapagos Islands, to the coyotes and katydids living in New England. I promise much more of that in 2023. But before we launch any deeper into the world of the animal kingdom, I need you to join me on my latest adventure, the study of human behavior. That's right, our own motivations. I'm talking about modern anthropology. This is The Algorithm. Check this out. Welcome to The Algorithm. I am, at this point, stumbling through my life, trying to figure out how to get out of the box of... I went from an iPhone 10 to an iPhone 14. Turns out we couldn't transfer one phone to the other because all the videos and all the stuff I had backed up over the years wasn't backed up. Then it was too big. We went crazy. So I've been stuck in a box, okay? And by the way, there's a lot of good things going on here, but my mind is telling me I am completely screwed because the last 4 years, all these incredible videos are gone. They're not gone, they're saved, but they're not on the phone. I can't easily access them. So I'm stuck in a box. I don't know how to get out of it. I'm frightened. I'm scared. It's out of my control. I can't put those things back on the old phone. The old phone is now done. So what I'm proposing to you is you too are all stuck in a box. Any problem? You too are all stuck in a box. Any problems that you have, we all share the same box. How do we get out of it? Usually, for me, it starts with some physical fitness. Push-ups, sit-ups, climb some stairs, climb a mountain, get on a bike, go swimming, get the blood flowing through the brain. It certainly has nothing to do with smoking a cigarette or watching television. You follow me? One day, out of the blue, an adorable cat appears in our garage. And after checking animal control and everyone else in the neighborhood, I had to know its gender. For those of you just joining us, Race and I are inviting you to the first episode of Scott Tucker's Algorithm that there's been in quite some time.
Oh boy, okay.
It's been quite a while, and what's really exciting is you're invited to our new kitty cat's gender reveal party.
Oh, we're doing that live?
I couldn't stand another day listening to it being referred to as a they. Check this out. Okay, so can you pick Biscuit up? Because we're going to have to examine the area over here, okay? Hello, baby. Could you bring Biscuit over here by the light? Oh, look at you, baby. You are so gorgeous. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Look at those paws. You got like a tiger's paws.
Yeah.
Those are some big paws. Yeah, because it's hard to say. We're going to have to figure it out.
We're gonna get him to the vet on Wednesday, so we'll get it.
Yes. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're officially going to call the gender of Biscuit. Race and I have just actually had to take a snapshot because it's difficult to see when she's moving around or he's moving around. I just gave it away. Okay, this is a female. The anus is very, very close to the
other opening.
I guess it's the other opening. We're not sure what you call it on a cat. But basically, we have ourselves a female. Biscuit is a girl. Congratulations, baby! Look at you! I've been all over this globe. Land and sea, mountains and deserts. But something keeps calling me back, year after year. Hate to switch gears on everybody so quickly, but from the gender reveal party with little biscuit cat, now we're out in the woods. Race fell asleep. Kind of abandoned the ship. So now I'm basically left to fend for myself. This place lives on in my mind as the quintessential get away from it all and put a fly in the water spot. Rather not tell you where we are, but look at this place. It's just amazing. Look at it. It's taken me nearly 60 years to figure this out. Travel is in the mind. There's no need to take an airplane, a train, or a bus. You can walk out your front door. After I had been in the Congo for the better part of 8 days, I met my first mountain gorilla in the jungle. It's all ready to come back, and you're riding that high, and then you come back, and one of the things on the itinerary when you go to the Congo is to go to the Rwandan Genocide Memorial. I had no idea what I was in store for. It was a trip within a trip. Back in the early 90s, I was experiencing life for the first time without the use of drugs and alcohol, which of course is a drug, but nobody looks at it as a drug. And I had no comprehension that 1 million people were being slaughtered in Rwanda. And so I go through this genocide memorial, and I am basically broken down in tears, or the tears I tried to hold back. It was, like I said, another experience that you just could not have predicted. Just to be clear, Rwanda was a powder keg waiting to explode many, many years before the early 90s. Religious tensions, secular tensions, politics that eventually were turned upside down. And radio talk show personalities. Not so much television, because that was a little harder for the masses to get their hands on, but radio talk show personalities played an immense role in spreading the hate. So just imagine again, this is 2015, coming from this country, and I land in Rwanda, kind of like I fell out of a turnip truck. And all of a sudden, I'm researching and immersed into the history of a genocide. And what do I see that starts almost as the spark and the conduit that ignites that genocide, when they look deep down into the history of what happened, is the role that talk radio hosts played in that genocide. They fueled the flames of hate, and actually a bunch of the radio hosts were imprisoned because of it. Amongst many others, Georges Ruggiero, a Belgian journalist and radio talk show personality, was convicted and sent to prison for crimes against humanity. He incited the violence against the Tutsi. They were basically brought to trial and were found guilty. So I took all that and I brought that home, and I kind of sat around in shock watching what I have seen in this country over the last 20 years of a slow build of dissension amongst us. And it's really worked. It's been a slow boil, very steady simmer, to one day ignite a country into a place where it's almost at war within itself. At the time of this recording, January 2023, there's already been 36 mass shootings in this country. Not bad. 36. One of which, just recently, 10 people were gunned down. We are at war with our own selves. Oh, you son of a bitch. It's difficult to get your mind around it because in Rwanda, the mass murder of the minority Tutsi occurred over 100 days. Guns were not even a major part of it. People were using machetes and clubs. They say the best time to catch a fish is dawn and dusk. This is what drives me crazy with how we get information. Many of us turn on the nightly news or click on and grab a YouTube clip. All we're getting are these little snippets. Take today, for example. As it turns out, the doomsday clock has now ticked closer to midnight than it ever has in its history. We're at 90 seconds to midnight, which means a nuclear catastrophe or nuclear war is becoming a probable event. Too heavy. Try to get your mind around this. In 1994, about 1 million people, human beings in Rwanda, were slaughtered and murdered in the Rwandan Genocide. The whole world sat and watched a 100-day massacre that began in April and went on for about 100 days, where 1 million people were murdered. NATO and the United Nations stood by and watched. They did nothing. Each and every neighboring country in Africa did nothing. The United States did nothing. Doing pretty good with no refined sugar in my coffee, just on honey, and I still have some ideas, so this is pretty good.
Good morning.
It's almost as if we as a species, we've made it this far. There's 8 billion plus of us on the planet. We as a species have to rewire and reconfigure our own thought process. In order for us to get to where we are at this point, we've had to focus on the negative, some say 8 times more than the positive. So we're constantly on guard for potential hazards ahead, whether it's driving at night, whether it's making sure the CO2 detector is properly energized with batteries so nobody dies in their sleep. It goes on and on and on and on. So if you don't make it a daily practice to focus on the positive with far more propensity than the negative, you will get swallowed up whole.
True.
Does that make sense?
Completely.
Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I'm running up on the ground. I run aground. And I don't understand why. And it's because, and go ahead, you can laugh at daily affirmations. Go ahead and laugh, which I know, the macho man out there is going to be like, I'm not doing no affirmations, damn it. But I need to make a list of some of my achievements. And I need to make a list of, the accomplishments. I need to review them on a regular basis because I constantly run aground with what's not right, what I have not completed.
I think that's wise advice to be kind to yourself and loving in all aspects. It's a little early for this, sweetheart.
This is the beginning.
With our lovely slippers. Thank you, great grandma.
I'll explain the slippers later. I recently stumbled upon this bit of research when looking deeper into radio talk show hosts and their effect on the Rwandan Genocide. This is published on the internet by Concordia University at the Montreal Institute of Genocide and Human Rights Studies. It says as follows. During the 1994 Rwandan Genocide, radio broadcasts played an important role in inciting ordinary citizens to take part in the massacres of their Tutsi and moderate Hutu neighbors. 2 major radio stations transmitted hate propaganda to the illiterate masses. The first was Radio Rwanda, government-owned. The second was called RTLM Radio. It's important to note that the second radio station was actually founded and created by the president of Rwanda at that time. He and his wife created a station that appealed to the popular youth at the time. It was hip, alternative, the official voice of the government. It played popular music and encouraged the public to phone in and participate in radio broadcasts. As everybody knows, there are 2 sides to every story. You can't conclusions after hearing only one side. Sometimes there's three. Does any of this sound familiar? Talk radio stations that enable common people to call in, voice their anger and frustrations, almost like an echo chamber for hate. It's been going on in this country now for over 20 years. By definition, a civil war is a fight between organized groups within the same state or country. The purpose of this conflict is usually about changing governmental policies, such as we had here in the United States during the bloody fight to end civil war back in the 1860s.
Yeah.
What are the odds that there's going to be a civil war here within the next 10 years or so?
3 wide-angle cameras to capture your shot.
I'm just not going to answer any questions and just like get really close to the camera.
You do realize there was a coup attempt.
Yeah.
There was a coup
Yeah,
attempt.
bro, we all know that.
Well, that was...
Hello, Internet.
I realize that I put race on the spot here. But notice how difficult it is to talk about. It's very uncomfortable, especially for a young mind to wrap their mind around it. Presently, the planet is host to over 20 civil wars that are raging around the globe. Last year, approximately 400,000 people died in these conflicts. Places like Myanmar, Ethiopia, Somalia, Afghanistan, just to name a few. They're all embroiled in war. So why are all these countries at war within themselves? The reason, it's all about a fight for resources. Too many people vying for control over land, control over water, control over animal livestock, and religious ideologies. Political control. And odds are things are only going to get worse. Human populations have ballooned to over 8 billion on this globe. And there's no sign of it slowing down. We are primates. And it's been established that we're genetically speaking, we share over 95% of the exact same DNA with chimpanzees. But we're in complete denial over this. In fact, to take it a step further, it's a fair argument to say that we act more like a quote-unquote animal than a wolf or even a bear. At least these creatures only kill for survival, predominantly in situations where they need food or to sustain the lives of their offspring. Animal is a word we just don't use to describe ourselves. Because we don't want to believe we are just one part of a food web. So we use toilet paper and perfume and cologne, scholarly titles and tailored clothing fashioned from the finest silks, all in a feeble attempt to help us feel different from the rudimentary, simple animal that we really are.
Bow wow.